We interrupt your regularly scheduled Vision 30 with a quick observation.
Visions, diagnoses, dragons, elements. No one else will talk about the magic system. Such an animal thing to do. Oh god, my brain's fried. And just fried enough to notice something pretty peculiar and potentially predictive. Through understanding the 7 virtues assigned to the elements of Teyvat, we can actually predict the Archon quests of the remaining 2 nations. What are the 7 virtues? Well, to simplify my dozen-video thesis,
this title and its legacy of bloodshed are now yours to bear.
You must have seen the Palace of Alcazar's before. I sacrificed so much for that. Everyone else thought I'd lost my mind.
I wish not for dominion. Yet I cannot watch the common folk suffer.
Next time you're looking for directions, I suggest you find your own way.
For that is my duty as Divine Priestess.
Waking world, you seem woven from the stuff of dreams.
So long as the light of the hearth still shines, I'll always have a home to return to.
let's go over the nation's questlines so far and reflect on what we now know. Dvalin wakes up without healing from his Durin infection 500 years ago, due to Abyss Order tampering. Venti, still weak from recovering himself, is unable to cure his dragon friend. In his desperation, he empowers another to do the vast majority of the work. Along with Jean and Diluc, they corner and free Dvalin from his ailment. Venti then gifts Dvalin a major boost of animal authority, just before losing his gnosis. Animo is the element of independence. They achieve their dreams alone, as no one else can or will. Barbados was forced to rely on others as his own abilities came up short. His goal was no longer his to accomplish. Rex Lapis has been slain. The stalwart protector of Liyue is no more. Of course, this ends up as a lie, as Zhongli was simply testing if his people were capable of supporting themselves through a crisis situation. It turned out to be true, mostly. There were definitely some hiccups along the way, but nothing Zhongli couldn't sit on the sidelines for. Geo is the element of charity. They are a supportive pillar and a shoulder for everyone to lean on. Morax intentionally abandoned his people and passively allowed a crisis to develop. His subjects were forced to support themselves. The Raiden Shogun has sealed the island nation away from the world, just as its Archon sealed herself from the nation. The people have split in conflict with one another, as the uniqueness that defined many was stripped away. Eventually, A is defeated and talked into changing her ways by the will of her people and her favorite fox familiar. Electro is the element of imagination. They reject normality and defy expectations. They express unfettered uniqueness. Beelzebul rejected rejection itself, enforcing a state of absolute uniformity. She subjugated whimsy. Nahida has been imprisoned by the Academia, who plans to replace her with a god of their own invention. Through increasingly risky actions, a group of future sages topples the powers that be, to free the true god of wisdom. To strip the divine power from the unstable new god, Nahida is forced to turn to her people for guidance, providing a nation's worth of perspectives to identify weaknesses and establish strategies. She was then made to surrender her prize. Dendro is the element of sacrifice. They give unto others, surrendering their prosperity for the betterment of the many. Boer was forced to wait as others gave up everything to rescue her. Even in battle, her people gave their all in her stead. She was unable to give anything, except a pair of noses. Farina runs the show, and the show must go on. Prophecy binds the nation as Celestia decrees all to be born guilty. Through many trials, lawful and otherwise, the truth is revealed. Fontaine is a nation of justice formed on a foundation of deceit. Archon Farina was a mere human, and the true god hid away in her machine. She executed herself in accordance with her plans after returning Hydro Dragon Nuvalet to his original glory, to absolve her people's original sin. Hydro is the element of diligence. They uphold an oath, following strict rules faithfully. Focalor pretended to obey, while preparing the illusion of compliance. She broke rules and followed no code. There is one little piece of the recap you may have noticed I neglected to mention. The Traveler. What were they up to again? In Mondstadt, they stood up for what needed to be done and did the lion's share of work, as only they could. In Liyue, the Traveler was hand-picked by Zhongli to give his people the extra manpower they needed to overcome the Fatui, supporting the Adepti and Qixing in their time of need. In Inazuma, the people demanded to be heard, and the Traveler was their messenger. They embodied each and every unique wish when facing down the Shogun. In Sumeru, it was the Traveler who put in the most work and was in the most danger. They sacrificed quite a bit to free Sumeru from the misguided academia. In Fontaine, the Traveler learned the legal system and used these rules to uncover the truth. They wound up not interfering with the prophecy, but they did play their part to the letter. The Archons have failed to continue their element's key virtues, demonstrating a failure in the system. Then comes the Traveler to pick up the slack and perfectly represent the absent quality. Now comes the predictions for the remaining 2 regions. Before I state my own guesses, why don't you provide your own down below? If you get it spot on, it'll be the ultimate bragging rights. Pyro is the element of legacy. They fulfill the ambition of those who came before. They do what their predecessors could not accomplish. Mavuika, as the current Pyro Archon, will be unable or unwilling to further a very old ambition. A dream that has been in circulation since the very first Pyro Archon accepted it, from the conquered Pyro Sovereign. Each of history's gods of war performed better than the last, advancing the wish by burning brighter and brighter. The Traveler will be the catalyst for fulfilling this ancient wish once and for all. Cryo is the element of those who seek acceptance. They are in conflict with themselves, a misfit, even if only in their minds. The Tsaritsa does not seek to improve herself, but to bring the heavens down to her level. Her insecurities when comparing herself to her precursors is only reinforced with her top harbingers whispering in her ear. their agendas only stoking her isolation into hatred and resentment for the system that allowed her to exist with such conflict in her heart. It is only through the traveler's tender counseling that she can see past the lies and realize her true home was always ready to accept her. She does belong. She always has.